Thank you everyone for tuning into the revival of the ScareTheater podcast. My first episode I did of this was actually a couple of years back where I interviewed the peculiar Bob Hickman. Today we have some more sane guests. BarelySociable and Nexpo are joining us today for this episode. They're both well-known figures in the internet mystery community, so I'm sure they're no strangers to you. In my talk with them, we spoke about things like burnout and how our creative process works. We then talked about the recent viral TikTok mystery of Andy Kapt, where he made some strange videos on TikTok and then mysteriously passed away. At the very end, we answered some questions you guys asked us on Twitter. So enjoy. Thanks for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it. How have you guys been?
I've been doing
terrible.
Terrible? Same, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, but that's okay. Things are never good.
Right.
You only start to truly enjoy life once you realize all life is suffering, right? And then you can enjoy the good moments so much better because of how rare they are, you know?
That's right.
Maybe that's too dark.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. The first thing I wanted to talk about with you guys was burnout. I noticed BarelySociable, you a few weeks ago now, on Twitter, you posted a tweet about burnout where I think it was actually I think screenshotted one of your fans talking about it, and you were like, "Oh, you hit the nail on the head." And the Nexpo, you responded to that tweet, and it seemed like you could relate to that. Do you guys want to talk more to how I guess burnout has been affecting you recently?
Sure. I think, yeah, man, it's just with this side of YouTube and stuff, there's always excitement, when channels go through a discovery phase, and you're pushing through to that goal of 1 million subs, and I think that's the big one for everybody. But as you kind of have been around for a while, it's not as exciting. And I think the way that tweet was phrased particularly is that a lot of YouTubers, they do things on borrowed motivation initially, and then as they're kind of in it for the long haul, after they've reached that goal, they're not being fed dopamine in the same way. And so you kind of have to do it for other reasons. You have to find ways to really just be more consistent and not just do it for the sake of, hitting that goal. And that comes with the cost of continuously switching things up and not just doing things in a routine way. And just like anything you do, it's it's super fun when you're learning and everything's new. But sometimes it's after you've done it for a while, there's, you have to continue to push forward and try new things and, cover different topics, explore, new ways of making videos and telling stories. And I think that's probably what I was going through for this past year, but I'm good now. I think you need some time to reevaluate where you're at and kind of push through. I think everybody goes through it to some extent. And I think Nexpo said similarly. It's just you've probably gone through something as well, right?
Yeah. So the past year and a half, I've actually never come out about this ever until now, but the past year and a half, I've been battling depression really, really bad. And I've been trying to figure out what's the core of everything I'm going through. Why do I feel this way? Whenever I used to have so much passion and love for what I do. And I think it does come down to what Hunter was saying, you're working off borrowed motivation, you're always chasing that goal, and once you hit that 1 million mark, it doesn't really feel like you're growing as fast anymore. And I think YouTube also plays a part in that because they do everything in their power to make the numbers seem less and less significant. A few years ago, they did that update with the site UI where they took away the full number of the subscribers. So now it feels like you're growing at a snail's pace, when in actuality, you're getting a shit ton of views, shit ton of subscribers, every single day. But as you get wrapped up in the day-to-day grind, it's just, you kind of lose sight of that, I guess. And I don't know, I always use the analogy of food. Starting YouTube is like eating a pizza for the first time. It's fucking amazing. I love pizza. Pizza's delicious. It's so good. But if you eat pizza over and over every single day for 5-6 years straight, no matter how much you love pizza, it's still you're going to hate it, after a certain amount of time. And I think that's the shitty part. I've just been going through, just kind of realizing that it's okay to not always be in love with what you're doing. It's okay to, feel sad. It's okay to be stressed. But I am very blessed to be where I am. And I do feel like I have pulled through a lot of hole I was in, and I am feeling a lot better now. I'm very, optimistic for the future, but I think the main thing about like, I guess being a creator is like the best thing you can have are fans that understand. And I'm so grateful for the fans that like do get it, that do understand, like we go through shit as creators and it sucks, but just having that like understanding is always a big thing. Like the people that don't go like, oh my gosh, why haven't you uploaded in like 4 months? Like Nexpo, you need to upload more. It's like there's a lot going on.
Or they say, why haven't you uploaded in 1 year?
Yeah, dude, you took a break for a whole year. But
that's like the biggest criticism that I think we all get. It's
yeah,
I
dude,
think
it's a lot of work, man.
It is, especially when there's different kinds of like, for video essays or like where you're telling a story or something like that, doing all the visuals for it and being one person. There's other like formats for YouTube that make a ton more money, and I think a lot of people don't realize this is that a lot of us in this genre, if we really wanted to, you can outsource a lot of the work, right? But it loses that kind of touch to it, and you can get help. And I think there's one thing to bring on more people. I've been working with like editors and stuff, but it's not like I'm still touching everything. I'm still like working with it, and I think that especially if you have like some idea of some story you want to tell in a better way or do whatever, there's much better ways of going about YouTube. But I also feel like, this genre, it's almost like better when you can, there's some anticipation, because there's other channels that upload every single day. And I just don't think there's the same appreciation because it's like always there. I don't know. Or it can get stale too. But, yeah, man, I think just, reinvesting and like trying to get better as well takes time too. I think if you want to like learn new things, and like for example, we were talking about like doing some of the 3D work and the 3D animation and trying to like take things to the next level, that takes like a learning period, which takes away from actually creating anything. But yeah, I think what I was gonna say, like what do you guys like? Because I know that like all of us have pretty much kind of taken some break or something. We've all done this for a little bit of time now, I think. But it's like you come back to it. You'll eventually go through like a slower spot. But usually, I will say it's like reading comments for me. It's like seeing like, oh, people really do enjoy this when you come back. And you're like, okay, it's like that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, that was huge for me when I came back, because like I was gone for a while. I was like, I wasn't sure if people like even like cared about me anymore. I was like, oh, they I was like, oh, I'm probably just in the dust now. But then when I came back, and like some of the people on like they'd comment on Instagram or in the comments and say like, oh, like he's back, boys, we got him back. Or like one person, like one thing that got to me is one person said, you don't owe us any explanation to why you were gone. We're just happy that you're back. And I was like, oh my god, like that like really like touched me. I was like, wow, that was, I don't know, it was just nice to know that they actually still cared. So yeah.
Dude, that's the best type of fan. That's the best type of fan right there. Like the diehards that are in your corner, that understand that we are just humans, and we're going through shit too, and it sucks, but we're still here. We got the love for the genre and stuff, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. It might slow down a little bit, but we're always gonna be here. Dude, the thing that sucks also, like on top of everything else I said though, is like something I'm sure you two have also, dealt with, like running out of topics that haven't already been covered. Like stuff that's a huge one for me. Like it frustrates me.
Well, yeah. So, well, okay. What are you guys thinking about doing? What are you working on right now? Or what content do you plan to expand to, for that matter?
You want to go first, Nexpo?
Yeah, sure. So I just put out the video today on the ocean. It's one of those experimental videos that we were just talking about. But yeah, like an ocean video, kind of exploring conceptually, the unknown. And I've also been building my own, I guess, internet ARG. I guess I became one with them because I've covered them for so many years. So I launched something called Liminal Land, which is like an analog horror ARG thing I'm doing with Nick Crowley. And next video, I'm working on doing a 3D video about the Japan Airlines flight. I was talking with Hunter about it earlier, but yeah, it's just a little short one, just to kind of ease my mind, because I've been doing so many long ones lately. I just kind of want to do some quick ones.
It's the time of year to do it for sure.
Yeah.
I think similarly, I'm kind of messing with more. I think I wanted to get some stuff done in January and then clear off some time to try more like cinematic stuff and like 3D animation and kind of like world building. I want to do a couple episodes where it's like you step into the world, and that's like if we're telling a story that you may have even heard before, but I'm telling it in a way that's like, okay, well, it's immersing you in it, where you may have heard about this case, but the way it's being explained is different. But I've got some weird ones too. I've got like some stuff about darknet stuff on the future horizon. I have to revisit. I feel like I'm like the worst at making a part 2 to anything, so I have a lot of stuff I need to revisit eventually. But that's what I'm working on right now. Mostly, just kind of catching up with stuff and then doing some newer like 3D animation stuff for more popular topics, but doing it. The goal is to do it better than it's been told. The story's been told before, but do it better, basically.
How are you gonna? Can you explain a bit more about what you mean with adding the 3D animation to these stories to make them a little bit, I guess, more in depth than the other guys have done so far?
Yeah, so a lot of people will talk about like cases like let's say like that one. This isn't one I plan on covering, but this is just an example. A lot of people have heard of that pizza bomber case. The guy who
I think they made a Netflix documentary thing about that too. I think, right?
Yeah. This is just an example. That documentary is great, and I think it's very hard to cover that one in a better way than that documentary. But basically, I would tell it step by step, animate everything, and map everything out, and kind of do it in like a similar fashion to like what Lamino does in like that one Jack the Ripper video. I think is a perfect example of world building.
Such a good video, man.
Perfect example of like you're stepping into that guy's domain for the video. He's created a consistent visual experience where when you're watching it, you are immersed completely because the visuals don't break consistently, and you feel like you're a part of like London and around that time. I think that's where it takes place, hopefully. But that in and of itself is such a better way to cover a topic that's already been covered, and using tools like Cinema 4D and whether it be Unreal Engine or whatever, and just using that to do the rendering. The other thing we're talking about is like there are tools now where you can like record your face and that'll like replicate the 3D animation, right? And you can basically like act out things. And that'll translate to the 3D character. You can even get motion capture suits, like stuff like this. It seems like it used to be like super exclusive to like all these major studios, but now you can just do this stuff at home. And it's like, nobody's really experimented with that on YouTube. And I haven't I think it's like a really cool future trend that maybe some people might dive into. But
no, that's a really ambitious idea. I really like that. I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be cool.
Hopefully it'll be decent because we're new at everything, right?
Yeah. So speaking of video topics, I know that you guys have been. I mean, we get video requests a lot, and some of them are a little bit like strange. Like I remember one time, someone sent me a request and I said, "Oh, it's ScareTheater. Can you debunk 9/11?" And I'm like, "Well, that actually happened. I can't really debunk that one." What's the most ridiculous video topic that someone has requested to you?
Yeah, I would say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead next.
I was just gonna say TikToks. Honestly, like it's just like I was saying earlier, like it's just so hard to believe a lot of like what's on TikTok just because of the nature of how it's built. Like where you like you're chasing likes, chasing views, and it's I feel like people really lean into the horror factor on TikTok. There's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of does muddy the waters for things that I think are fake, I guess. Like whenever I take a look at certain things under like an analytical eye, you can kind of spot stuff that's like obviously fake. But if you go to the comments, it's people going like, "Oh my God, that's so real. Like what the fuck?" You know,
Yeah.
it just frustrates me, man. But yeah,
When it's so
it's really just kind
obviously
of broad.
fake. Yeah.
I think there's a difference between like an ARG is interesting, and right, you might not realize it's all fake at first, but like some of the storytelling that I think goes on that platform, because it's confined to that format. Occasionally, you get something decent. And even I myself, I hate, I know I'm in the wrong genre to be disliking paranormal stuff, but honestly, it's like there's two sides of YouTube, and it's like you can lean into that, and there's a ton more money in playing up stupid crap, honest to God, and there's a lot more views to be made leaning into that and just acting like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, man, it's frustrating because I don't know. I think you you can't. I don't know. Can you guys like? Is there ever a topic where you just can't suspend your disbelief, even though you know it'll get views, and you're just like, I'm putting this down. But I feel like that when I first started, I thought like the internet was like far more mysterious, and then I kind of got familiar with it, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is like everywhere, if that makes sense.
Dude, that's the thing though. Like, what I've realized that this year, like what scares the audience may not necessarily scare us. And I always keep that in the back of my mind, like when I'm like overthinking topics, because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's people are scared of things because we're so into it, man. You know, like we see this shit every day. So it might be like very obviously not scary to us, but
yeah. we're desensitized.
Yeah, exactly. Desensitized. That's the word.
Yeah, I suppose. I feel, well, for me, I feel like the things that scare me nowadays are like, it's not like, I feel like anything that's like gory, like that to do with like murder, like real stuff doesn't really scare me much, but it's like the weird things that like just like the surreal kind of stuff that I feel like wouldn't scare most people is what freaks me out for some reason. Like, I don't know, Nexpo or BarelySociable, if you guys know that old video, it's called Obey the Walrus. Do you know, did that mean anything to you?
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah, for some reason that
Yeah.
video, like to this day, still freaks me out. And when I first saw it when I was younger, like for at least 2 or 3 years, like I literally like had trouble sleeping because of that. And that video, it's not even that scary. Like a lot of people find it funny, but for me, it's like that's the stuff that creeps me out for some reason. I don't know why, it just does. But yeah.
Yeah, Obey the Walrus was definitely one for me. Even to this day, that one video, There Is Nothing, where it's that girl sitting at the dining table.
Room, yeah.
Yeah, that still freaks me out.
That one's like a classic, though. Both of you, I remember I've shown that the Obey the Walrus one. That was like part of your intro, right?
It was part of my intro at the very beginning, which is hard to edit that intro because I had to look at the video and yeah, it took a lot of willpower.
Occasionally, some of the creepy topics end up being like oddly wholesome, like the one you covered it before too. And this is like some of the ones that might be ridiculous. They end up having like a happy ending sometimes, like years later, like the Ruth Price phone call.
Yeah,
that one I was like I that one traumatized me as like a kid, right? Like I remember seeing that posted on YouTube, low quality resolution and everything, and they would have the backstory behind that call. I remember you covering it, and I was like, okay. And then I just recently it was found out that it was real, and basically she fought off the person who attacked her in the call. I was like, damn, that's like a very, it was meant to be creepy, but it, ends up being wholesome.
Yeah, the full story makes it better sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. But regarding the most ridiculous video topic, I would say pretty much like anything from, like, it's kind of similar in like the TikTok, like where there's so much BS, and a lot of it comes from like the UFO side of YouTube. Because there's so much astroturfing on that topic between like hoaxes and stuff, and I've talked about that, and the fine line between like insanity and just conspiracy on that side of YouTube is like occasionally I do plan to revisit some of the UFO stuff, but I just check out 99% of the time when it comes to anything like that, and I just go, oh, this is ridiculous, and I throw it out. But yeah, I would say that's probably my answer, but. Okay. Yeah. What about you, ScareTheater?
Yeah. So the most ridiculous one I have, I had trouble deciding which one, but I think the winner of this has to be a very recent request that I got. And I'm going to share a screen so you guys can see this. Okay. So just some backstory behind what this is. I got an email, this is a couple of months ago, where someone was like, ScareTheater, my mom just showed me this video, and I guess he said that it showed it was some kid that had cow legs because he was misbehaving, and I guess it was in Indonesia. So the kid had cow legs because he was misbehaving, and I guess according to some legend, if you do bad things, some god or whatever like replaces your human legs with cow legs. And then he sent me this video that I'm about to show you right here. I'm just gonna fast forward to where you can see it. So yeah, so you see this kid, legs of a cow, and I'm like, I mean, obviously this is just a little bit, ridiculous.
It's like a prop.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but what I thought was so bizarre about this, though, was that there's actually, like, this is a trend, apparently, which I didn't know. Like, all across Instagram, and maybe even TikTok, I don't know, I didn't look at that. There's, like, a whole, like, genre of videos that just record people with cow legs. And what I thought was hilarious about this was that in those comment sections, a lot of people, they will all say, "Oh, this is obviously fake," it's just prop cow legs. But there was one or two videos which they would show the person with the cow legs, and I guess they'd also put like a fake tail behind them, and I guess the tail would be moving up and down. They must have used a string or something like that. But some of these guys that were so sure it was fake, they saw the tail move, and for some reason for them, that's what changed their minds. Like, "Oh, guys, it might be real because the tail is moving now." And I'm like, seriously, like you can't think of a single scenario in which maybe they could have faked the tail too. It was ridiculous. It was dumb. So yeah, I never covered that.
Bro, what in the pan-fried fuck are people suggesting? Holy shit.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Though, it's like, because there's so much like fake crap online, like one of these days something just ridiculous is gonna pop up, and then we're just not gonna believe it.
Yeah, it's gonna be real.
Oh yeah.
Like, get that out of here. You know what I mean? And I definitely think that sometimes there are cases like that happened with the getting back to the UFO thing. That like the Tic Tac video or whatever, when that was posted online, it was posted, I think, by like some like film students. So they quickly wrote it off, and then they confirmed it later. So it's like, you never know. Obviously, that's ridiculous. But like one of these days, I swear. But it'll just be. Because you have like Photoshop, and it's just like there's Photoshop, and there's so much noise when it comes to info these days. It's like it's only a matter of time. But anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so next I want to move into this whole Andy Kapt situation. We're gonna do a little classic ScareTheater style analysis here.
Cue intro.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this was an event that happened on TikTok. This is I don't know, a month or so ago. That sound about right, guys?
This is a huge story. Yeah, it was everywhere for
Yeah,
a while.
it was
Yeah, it
pretty
was about a
big.
month.
So basically, just as a quick summary here, this guy, he started making TikTok videos in July of 2021 under the name Andy Kapt. He also had a YouTube channel called Andy Dawson TV where he would post music and stuff. And his TikTok videos, they were nothing like the ones at the beginning. It was nothing out of the ordinary. It was just normal stuff you would, see from any random TikToker, nothing to take note of. And then in April of 2022, his content took a weird shift. So, the where this all started was on April 9th, 2022. He posted a video simply called "It's a Giant," which we'll play here real quick.
What is it?
It's a person, dude. No, seriously, pull over.
No.
There's a person standing there.
No, it's not.
Dude, have you seen what I've seen right now?
So
It's kind of dangerous if you're driving and you're recording.
Yeah. In some of his TikTok videos, it literally said like, this activity may be dangerous, or like some like disclaimer on the bottom of the screen. But yeah, so this, I mean, obviously this first video is obviously super inconclusive. We don't really get a good view of what he's looking at all. But this is what was interesting about this video, at least looking back, was that all of his other videos didn't get a lot of views. This one got millions of views. So this one, it's just interesting to note the shift in audience that happened here. As far as what the giant is on the screen, I mean, it's not too hard to guess.
It's like a tower, right?
Yeah. So this video was filmed at Canoe Mountain in British Columbia. If you look here, I mean, on top of the mountain of this picture, if you zoom in, you can see the radio tower at the top. Looks incredibly similar, and it's at the same exact spot to what he was looking at. Someone on Twitter, they went on Google Maps and got like a little overhead view to look at the tower even better. So I mean, clearly it looked like he was looking at a weather station on top of the mountain. Okay, so later on, he posted on April 12th, he made another video called "Stopped by the CIA." So I'm gonna play that one real quick.
I just got stopped by like some CIA agent. He told me to turn around, said I'm trespassing. I said it's a public area, like a public park or whatever. Some local told me to take this path. I didn't get it on camera, but I'm going to go again tomorrow and be prepared to be filming right now because he stopped the vehicle. His truck was blocking it. Said some like environmental issue was going on. I don't know. He told me to go back and said I was trespassing. I don't get it. It was awkward, but I'm going back again tomorrow to see if he's not there. But if he is there, I will keep a camera. I will film because the only angle I could get that I found today is the one I just posted earlier, and there wasn't even anything there. But I don't understand why the road's blocked off. I don't know.
Okay.
He's in Canada, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, not to say the CIA.
The CIA, well, I guess they're technically internet. If he said FBI, that would be even weirder. But the CIA, I guess, is technically international, so I guess it works. But regardless, it's weird that he would go to a mountaintop, and some authority figure stops him and says turn back, and they say for environmental reasons, and then his first thought is, oh, CIA. Like, I would just assume it's a park ranger, you know?
I mean, unless he's like specifically identifying himself as a part of American intelligence, which actually, I mean, that's, I mean,
Would you think if that's what happened, that's what he would mention that in the video, right? Which he didn't.
Some CIA dude. I mean, well, Canadian intelligence? I mean, I don't know. The CIA is everywhere. I mean, but that's not I don't think that they would be working on giant stuff. You know, it's actually really sort of a side note here. There's like, I was actually going through some of the CIA documentation, or FBI, one of the two. There's actually some, like when it comes to like cryptids and stuff like that, like the Bigfoot thing, there's actually one document that points to like them losing a sample, apparently, that belonged to like a Sasquatch or something ridiculous, which is really weird. But like, there's not much like that. I don't think this would be even of intrigue, obviously, of American intelligence, or it's like, oh, we got to get the giants.
The giant on the mountain. Yeah. I mean, this definitely didn't help me get immersed in it, I will say, at this point. Yeah.
But
he's probably using like a blanket term for like anyone that approached him. Like, oh yeah, it's CIA. You're CIA. You know, everyone's CIA. That's coming on to him.
True. Yeah. So he posted another video the next day on April 13th, just called Heli Extraction.
So they're extracting something out of here. There's 2 helicopters. What the fuck?
So obviously trying to make
Wait, what's it carrying? Is it carrying something, or is it
is
just like
carrying something? He tried to make it seem like this is some sort of like, you know, some sort of secret that they were trying to extract off the mountain to bring back to a lab for testing or something like that, I'm sure is what he wanted to imply. But I think the obvious answer here is likely that it was just a logging helicopter. These are very common, especially in areas like that. So I would assume, and other people from the area say, I mean, that this is a common thing that happens. They'll see logging helicopters going up and down the mountain to do these kinds of things. So that's likely what it was.
I mean, Eric, he's not wrong, bro. They are extracting wood.
They are extracting something. That is true. He got that. He technically did not lie to us there.
Oh, yeah.
And then CIA Part 2. So on April 14th, he posted the second part to the CIA video where, oh God, this part absolutely destroyed all immersion for me. He shows us an actual recorded encounter with the said CIA agent when he went back. So I'll just show you this.
The guy's here again. Yeah, this is him. What's going on?
Road's closed. Turn around.
Really?
Yeah, man. Just turn around, please.
Okay. Have a good night, man. So that was fucked up. There he is. I'm driving past him again. Just turned around. I don't understand why it's closed off though. It's a fucking public park or public road or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, that was basically it.
Doesn't the car like take off or something? Or
Well, so that was in a later video.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah. Here, I mean, I thought first of all, you look at the CIA agent, and he's wearing like a hoodie. Like this doesn't. Once again, I thought the clothing was weird. He's in a Dodge Charger. The language he used, I thought was kind of strange. Like he was like, "Oh, just go away, man." Like it was very passive language for an authority figure. You know what I mean?
I mean, you see so many staged social interactions on TikTok on like every single video, and I've seen people like do videos on this subject and just like 100% play it up like it's real, and they only do it at like the end of the video, like they play it up like it's real until like the very very end of it. But like when I see something like this, it's like, well, why is there, you know, by comparison, maybe I'm just a stick in the mud when it comes to this stuff, but I think like how hard would it be to get your friend to just like go pose on the side of the road and then, you know, orchestrate this whole interaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very simple, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then on April 17th, he posted another video called Being Stalked that shows another encounter with the said CIA agent. I'll play that.
I think that's the same vehicle from... Hey!
So, I mean...
That's not a cop car. That's not a fucking cop car.
Yeah, this once again did not help at all with the immersion factor. I mean, yeah, it was this seemed kind of ridiculous to me. Either that or that's literally the worst CIA agent ever.
What agent sits there and then, you know, peels out right in front of you?
Yeah, exactly.
You confront them. That'll never happen.
It's straight from him. It's like they literally assigned him. It's like, just make this guy as suspicious of us as possible. Like, that was the goal. I guess he did it, but yeah, no, I thought that was weird.
A Canadian CIA agent. He's like, check this out, eh? And then anyways.
So the next video, okay, this was the one that kind of a lot of people reference back to, that kind of, I guess, ruffled some people's feathers here. On May 6th.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, on May 6th, he posted a video called Official Update.
Hey guys, I just want to give you an update. I'm not dead. I have not disappeared. I have just been busy with life. I couldn't get around to posting and updating you guys, so now I'm going to give you an official update of what's been going on. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but all of the videos that I posted were scripted. They're just fake. They were just strictly for entertainment.
He's doing reverse psychology.
Oh yeah, this is like that Redditor.
Guys. I just needed to give you a quick update.
You know,
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't say anything, people are like, oh, that's fake. But you come back and you say it was all fake. Then the internet goes, it's all real.
Like, oh crap, yeah, like that's clearly what he was going for. And then also, like, you know, at one point in the video, like, he tries to make it subtle, but it still looks so forced. Like, he stops and he looks over to the left, like he's looking to someone for instruction on what to say next. Like, he's being like held hostage by whatever to make this video.
Like Marina Joyce.
Yeah, all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing.
So similar.
Yeah. And then, next we have on May 16th, so this was 10 days later, he posted a video called I'm Scared, which he then, well, I'll just play it for you.
You might not see me post ever again. My videos weren't fake.
So, yeah, obviously
Weren't
this
fake?
is gonna reignite that flame again. And
Right.
after that, I think, oh yeah, so his last video, after, that was one day later, he posted this video just called Military with a question mark, and this is what he posted. Assume
Like,
that's just the weather. Is that the weather tower?
I don't know. I
yeah.
don't,
So someone found a different angle of it on Twitter and put the picture up. Yeah.
Okay.
It's some sort of like building thing.
Got it. So he posted that, obviously saying, oh, well, like, you know, claiming that wasn't there before. Obviously, it was there before. But that was his last video. And after that, he stopped posting for a few months. And no one really knew what happened. People were worried about him. And this is when things actually get a little bit more serious. So it looks like there are rumors going around that he died. And I guess on July 1st, it looks like he actually did pass away. There are a few different websites that show obituaries talking about his death. None of them talk about how he died, but also on his Instagram, you'll see family members of his that are grieving. His girlfriend's TikTok page, she is also grieving over him. And it's been a while since this happened, and you know there hasn't been any word from him since. So I mean, I looked into the possibility that maybe it was faked just to like continue the series and make it more mysterious. But looking at all of this, I think he actually did die. I think that really did happen. And if he is faking it, I think it's very odd that he would keep it going this long, because you think that at some point you want to keep the series going, you want to, you know, resurrect yourself. And also, I think it would just be messed up for his girlfriend and family to like go along with that. I just don't, it doesn't feel reasonable to me. What do you think?
so it's so weird when you compare this situation because obviously it's tragic that he passed away because I think it was self induced for lack of a better word, if you know what I mean. It's weird to see this, you know, because a lot can happen in like a month and a half, and I'll be the first. You know, you pair this with like the CIA lore and you know what they're known to do and stuff like that. And it kind of creates some air of like you know mystery right there, but obviously it's weird to see how TikTok latches onto this story because there was another story that came from like Twitter and like the crypto space recently where some guy's like he tweets out something cryptic like the CIA's running something blah 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 in the I think it's like Puerto Rico or some place around there. It's like a tweet you can check. I retweeted a while back, but and then like the next day his body is found floating or a few days later his body's found floating in the water there.
Jesus,
God.
man.
Yeah, but everybody by comparison on there was like quick to write that off. But then we kind of get this like very easily half-baked story without any like motivation. You know, obviously giants is an interesting, sensational topic, but it's weird to see you know how different platforms react to like topics like this. Like TikTok rolls with it because they kind of like
Right.
this series. Like people on Twitter are very skeptical, I would say, about things being fake. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but point being is it definitely has like all the hallmarks of like one of these stories, right? But then it's, you know, the seed of truth is that he clearly seems to have passed away. I mean, that's confirmed, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, Eric, are you able to pull up any of these obituaries at all?
I can. Yeah. So here, let me just pull these up real quick.
And also
So-
that TikTok video. I do want to watch that.
Sure. Well, so it's not a video; it's
Yeah.
it's an entire account.
Oh.
So we'd have to go back.
Oh, I see.
She never talks
Okay.
about it. Here's one where she like mentions like a little obituary. She does it a lot, and I will admit her reactions I thought were kind of interesting. Sometimes like she'd
Mhm.
post a lot of videos of her like crying and grieving and stuff, and people in the comments would ask what happened to Andy, and she never addressed it ever, which I thought was a little bit weird.
Interesting.
Like a lot of
He,
people
Yeah.
accused her of like
yeah,
attention seeking and stuff like that, which I don't want to do. But like I thought it was everyone reacts to grief differently, so I just wrote it off as that. Um, yeah, it was interesting. And then as far as these obituaries go, I mean, some of these you could probably get a fake obituary posted if you wanted to. These were just half of the reason why I decided to believe it. It was mainly the time that had passed and the reaction from his family members that for me, put the,
the
final hammer in the
family
coffin.
the family really did post about him passing away.
Yeah, so there are some family members on like they would leave like comments on like his Instagram posts, basically.
And interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I
Hmm.
mean, it's tragic for their loss, and I don't mean to make light
Yeah.
of it, but obviously it's like, you know, who knows the real circumstances, the personal matter of the family. It sucks that got tangled in with this though.
Yeah, it
If this,
does. The timing was
Yeah.
so bad.
yeah,
And I feel bad because, like, even today on his girlfriend's TikTok, people, like, if you look at her, this is her last video, people still saying, like, what happened to Andrew? Like, all this kind of stuff, she still gets stuff about this to this day, so that must be annoying. But,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The cause of his death was not published, but I think, I know the reason why he died. I think he took his own life. The reason I think that is because on his YouTube channel, Andrew Dawson TV, his last video he posted was a song, an emotional song that seemed to have like a depressing vibe to it, which I mean I probably wouldn't think much of it if I wasn't looking at it in this kind of context. But in
Right.
that video, after Andy's death was announced, this guy named Matthew McDonald posted this video. He said, "I wish this was true, Andy, every damn day." And then somebody responded to this Matthew person, and they basically asked what happened to Andy, and he said, "Andy lost the battle of depression through. This is recent. His service will be held on the 17th of this month in his hometown. This was a shock to many, as Andy was the guy that talked so many of us off ledges of our town. He was a special soul that would light up a room with his presence, and you could tell any story to without being judged. Funny, charismatic, honest, and joyful. Sometimes that's just not enough for this world." And then after that, someone asked about the TikTok series. He responded saying, "The conspiracy was a joke for views, clicks, and revenue. Andy wanted internet fame. This was just another story. He was not murdered. He has struggled with himself for many years." And the reason why I am going to give some credit to this Matthew character, even though he's just some random guy on the internet, is because I went to his channel just to see if I could find anything that might even lightly connect him back to Andy. And he had a video of him driving back in 2020. Through this area that looks like it is a very similar looking area to where Andy was. So there's at least a possibility that maybe he actually did know him like he claimed.
Yeah.
So
God, that's
that.
tragic, man. Holy
Um,
shit. I knew of like the whole TikTok situation with all the videos and stuff and the towers, but like the actual passing is something that's kind of wild to me, man. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely sad because I mean, like I said, the timing is the only reason why it's so odd. Like it's
Yeah.
like I wonder if he was thinking about that during his last moments, like if he knew that this was gonna happen. I mean, he must have, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Who knows? It's definitely a heavy subject to deal with. And I think that
Yeah.
if you're dealing with crap, there's probably some. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. That's all I'll say. I don't want to say something the wrong way.
Yeah, no,
but,
that's
but yeah, it's tragic. But yeah, man. I think my real takeaway, like I said, obviously is it's really interesting to see how this is like a big story on like TikTok and how the skeptic, I don't know if it's just because it's like a younger user base, right? These stories pop up a lot more. And that's not to like talk down on TikTok in any capacity. It's just like I've gotten sent a bunch of stuff and it's just like I could entertain like the whole thing, but I think there's so much like I don't know. Occasionally there might be things that pop up that blur the lines here, right? And like while everything was in the realm of possibility, besides the giant thing,
yeah.
it's like just the levels of sensationalism is what catches people's attention, especially in such a shorter format. that leads to things like this. I think gaining um, a much broader audience, but
Yeah.
it's still an interesting format to tell a story. I'll say that too. Um,
Right. Like it is really hard to verify a lot of the stuff on TikTok, and this is kind of a tangent, but like on that one case kind of comes to mind that came up recently. You guys have probably seen this. The girl that made a TikTok about her hotel room. She was flipping through the channels on the TV, and one of the channels was of a toilet, and it was like really grainy, and it was showing a toilet, and it looked like it was a live feed from inside the hotel.
oh,
You all heard of
I
that?
did not see that.
no,
That
I
sounds
did
that
not.
sounds
Okay.
kind of creepy. Was it
It is a
real?
very creepy story, yeah. And it was a really creepy video on TikTok, and I really wanted to cover it, but every single source that I could find just referenced that one TikTok, and
Yeah.
there was no records or anything. And basically, she followed up with more context on the story later in like further videos. She was saying that she didn't call the cops immediately. She went straight to the front desk to inquire about it. The front desk, I think, came out and basically did like a check in like 20 minutes of the whole premises and said, "Oh, there's nothing. They didn't find anything." And that was pretty much it. The
Wow.
girl did go into her bathroom, and I think her boyfriend or something went up into the light in the bathroom and like pulled it out, and there was an outlet up there in the light, but there was no camera. But there's no source for it. It's just that video, and that's it,
Okay,
which is like
so
frustrating
yeah.
on TikTok.
Well, I think the whole point is like urban legends spawn out of unverifiable, stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I could be telling the truth, or am I just doing this for the sake of a bit of harmless fun, right? But
Yeah.
obviously, it's like the the mediums for which, like, once I think, like, for example, Reddit used to be like kind of this outlet for 4chan's obviously like the main place where most of the rumors come from, and then it's like you have Reddit, but then like once certain things kind of get their footing for like storytelling and they've been done a few times, it's like then it approaches this new medium, right? And yeah, I think there is definitely some possibility because like there's like seeds of truth of like people hiding hidden cameras in hotel rooms, and I think like you can even there's like I don't know where this is popular. Some Eastern country where they would like get things to detect cameras in their room, and they would go in, they would find and remove cameras. So there's some level of believability there, but like who knows if they're just shit posting like 99% of TikTok, and everywhere else on the internet for that matter. But you know what I mean. The the blurred lines are highly emphasized, I should say. But yeah, so
Okay.
you have questions for us.
Yes, up to a little bit of a happier note. We got some questions. Before we did this, I asked some people on Twitter to, just comment, reply if they wanted to ask us anything. So the first question I got was from Sacro Gaming. He says, "I've always wondered where they find their video topics. As a content creator in a similar niche, I find it hard to cover topics that haven't been covered to death. How do you guys go about finding whatever you're going to make your videos about?"
You want to go first, Nexpo?
Yeah. I hate this part of the process, honestly. Um, yeah, so basically it's just a whole bunch of scrolling on Reddit for like 10 hours a day for a week straight. Going through like r/internet mysteries, which used to have some good stuff, and now it's kind of eh.
Yeah.
But yeah, unresolved mysteries. Let's see what else. RBI. I actually haven't used RBI recently. Ask Reddit's a big one. But yeah, it's mainly a lot of just like looking up specific questions like creepy audio, creepy cases, creepy mysteries, and then like Reddit at the end on Google. So it's pretty much how I find stuff.
The best ones are the ones you don't expect to find. Like it just like
Yeah.
pops in. Oh, that's interesting. Just catches your attention naturally. I think that's probably. But I've been, as much as like people kind of joke about like sponsored segments being, I genuinely have used Audible a lot, just books, because a lot of YouTubers go straight from, like a lot of them just go straight from like Google, Wikipedia. And I like Wikipedia sometimes. I just don't think it scratches the surface a lot, and it sometimes can be a little oversimplified. But I found a lot of good stuff just reading books, especially about like topics in the 80s, because a lot of that stuff hasn't found its way to like just unresolved mysteries yet. Like a lot of
Yeah.
discussion for, Reddit's a great place. A lot of people are searching there though. I would say um, books are like one of the few ways that you can kind of get like, or audiobooks in particular, because I'm not like a huge reader, but like that kind of helps bridge the gap because you'll just have something going on in the background. You're like, oh, well, what's that? Right. And then you'll look into it further, and that kind of like, especially for deep dives, the whole purpose is it's to kind of just like recapture your experience about looking into something weird and then just like take the viewer on that ride. Right.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I would say similarly, just like YouTube, TikTok, not TikTok, but YouTube, Reddit, and occasionally I've come across stuff even on Twitter, like the phone topic. Like a lot of people were um, posting about that, and that led me down a whole weird world of Googling. I think a lot of people think that it has to be like this perfectly outlined topic, but a lot of the stuff is just like what you find interesting or what's on your mind. I think that's one way to do it too. But yeah, I think that's my answer. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I would say pretty similar answer. I would say that maybe the main thing I go to is definitely Reddit. I've also been looking at the Internet Mystery subreddit, which I know you guys are moderators of, and my file pile video I actually grabbed from there. But
Oh, no way.
yeah, the file pile guys weren't super happy with me about that, but that was kind of to be
What?
expected. Yeah, there have been some issues with that, but nonetheless,
Oh gosh.
yeah, I'll go to Reddit sometimes, but also if I can, I mean, if there is a topic that I've heard of in passing or that I just think of, and I'm like, wow, I would really like love to talk about this. That's like you said, barely sociable. That'd be that's always a good starter to just kind of branch out and see what I can extrapolate from there and try to bring that into one video. So
Yeah,
that's basically how I go about doing it.
I've noticed there are two specific like reactions to when we make videos. People either really love that we cover something that they're into, or they really hate it. There's no like in
I,
between, which
I have a funny
sucks.
story about that. I covered one topic in the past, and I'm not going to say which one. I'm not going to put anyone on the spot here, but I covered a topic, and the person who had kind of they'd written a book about this topic, and they reached out to me after I made it, and they basically said like. Uh, I saw what you put out, and I referenced their book and everything like that, and then I said like, or they said something to the effect of, "Do not create any more unauthorized versions of," because some of the stuff you covered was incorrect. Well, I'm like, I referenced your book, so like, I'm thinking to myself, the person just doesn't want me to like talk about their story or something. It's like this is a story they worked on, and they just didn't want me to cover it, and maybe that's what it was at first, I thought. And then so a few months go by, and so I left like a link to their book and stuff like that, and then they messaged me again, and they're like, I'm releasing another book. And they wanted and they
Oh my god.
so I'm like, oh, okay, you want me to cover it again so more people will buy your book.
That's
Hey,
great.
that's authorized, bro. You're
Yeah,
good.
I know at that point I'm like, okay, but that's my little story with that one. But what's the next question?
The next question was this one comes from Zephyr or at SoftScribes, and they say, what is the most harrowing topic you all have encountered before, which made you not want to even cover it?
Oh God,
This is a good one.
okay, I'll say this: most conspiracy stuff, like, oh God, I'm gonna go there. All right, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna keep this in the least controversial way. When you talk about intelligence agencies, right, regarding that's not something you should talk about. And if that's something that I've learned when it comes to, there's one topic in particular that's fascinating, and I'd love to make a video on it. But it gets every detailed discussion. I was going through it. I would see news clips regarding this topic deleted. I would see, like, we're talking about like NBC things taken down. I'd see authors' websites taken down. I would see YouTube videos. I've talked to multiple people who've covered this stuff, and it's just something you just can't go there with. And it's like, it's fascinating. It's interesting. I'm not trying to, rile up anybody to, believe anything far-fetched. The documentation's there. But it's harrowing because it's almost like a boogeyman type thing where it's like, you're leaning into a conspiracy. Like it's like that Aratus thing. It's like the thing that you can't talk about, but you want to. So those are the ones that are harrowing because I guess they follow you. But you don't want to talk about it because you just don't, it's not worth the risk, if that makes sense. Even something silly happening. But obviously that's like part of the appeal of it. I don't know. It's like Pandora's box once you open it. But yeah, not to say that all conspiracy stuff is to that level or of any capacity, but generally stuff regarding like genuine discussion of like intelligence agency stuff, especially like recent, you can't go there. But yeah, that's all I'll say for that.
Interesting. What about you, Nexpo?
To be honest, Scientology.
Oh yeah, I had a little debacle with them. I'm not gonna lie, there was some videos about them. I almost wanted to continue making them, but I did get a little nervous to continue. That's one of the reasons I
Really?
stopped a little bit.
Dude,
Looking
specifically
back, I
the
don't think I'm
Shelley
worried anymore.
Miscavige.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Specifically the Shelley Miscavige disappearance. David Miscavige's wife. How she hasn't been seen in public since like 2007. Dude, that shit's weird to me, but I wouldn't want to face like any backlash from that.
Their legal team.
Yeah. That.
I mean, you hear about what they do to their ex-members and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, what if they do? Like, I feel like if they wanted to ruin my life, like maybe they could.
I think isn't David missing too now, and their old president Heber Jentz hasn't been seen either in a long time.
Oh shit, is he?
Yeah. So I believe Heber Jentz was the former president of Scientology. There's a whole rabbit hole with him, and there's some people that could allegedly maybe lead you to believe that there's something shady going on at Scientology, allegedly. But like, yeah, it's definitely one of those topics that, because there's other people too that are part of the online influencer sphere, sorry, and their content is essentially like a branch of that facility or entity, I should say.
Yeah.
So, and there's one person that I've thought about talking about from there, and yeah, I just don't feel like getting into a long legal battle.
It's just not worth it, man.
It's a lot of risk.
I think certain people are more equipped to deal with that because it's like their whole brand, like coffee, for example.
Dude,
Yeah,
yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yep.
And I've passed that info off to him multiple times. It's just like, there's still things that aren't worth the headache or the money. There's no money in it. There's no money in fighting those dumb battles like that.
Right.
But it's like, it's a shame sometimes that you can't do anything about certain things unless you really that's what you're called to fight. But yeah, a lot of the most harrowing topics aren't necessarily the most creepy. It's just the ones that I would say that that you'll get bullied out of talking about, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Huh. Okay.
pick your battles.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as me for this question, this is like, I think the only question here that I didn't really have a good answer to. I feel like most topics I'll talk about, even if the risk is high. I don't know. I feel like I'm just one of those. I just don't care sometimes. And also I feel like I just do a lot of stupid things sometimes too. So, it's just like in my nature. But like, yeah, I don't really have an answer to this one. But I as a substitute, I can say I wanted to mention a movie that I saw recently that kind of actually freaked me out a little bit, because horror movies never usually scare me. And the movie I'm about to mention, you're probably going to be surprised that I even mentioned this. But are you familiar with the movie Megan is Missing?
The Megan?
Yes.
You
Megan
mean the
is
doll?
What's that?
Not the movie about the doll, right?
No. It was like a found footage style film.
Oh,
It's old. Okay, well, so
Where the girl like gets the friend request or something on Facebook. Was it that one
I don't know if it was Facebook, but like
or something?
and at the end, like it's the one. Okay, she gets buried alive at the end. Is that the movie you're thinking of?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so
That's
so
the
so you're
one.
probably like, how did that scare you? Like, listen, the movie was awful. It's a really bad movie. Like, so the writing is terrible, the acting is terrible, but the last 20 minutes of it, for some reason, just actually kind of got to me. Like, I remember like that night, I like it kept me up for a little bit. I'm not gonna talk too deeply about it, but yeah, if anyone wants to watch it, go ahead. Uh, the last, if you're squeamish, don't watch the last 20 minutes. That's really it. But yeah. Anyway,
I have a question for both of you. Like,
sure.
what's like one thing, like one piece of media that just like scarred you when you were a kid and that you can just remember being terrified about? Because I have one, and I remember like I had like a family member, and I didn't know what movie it was for like the longest time, but there's like this one scene in a movie. I remember being at like a hotel when I was like a kid or something when my family was traveling, and like a family member was watching this one movie where basically there's this one scene where they throw a bunch of body parts off over a bridge or something. I was maybe like 6 or 7 when I saw this or something, and it stuck with me for years. And I finally looked it up, and basically it's like they throw the body parts like out of a window, and it was a Stephen King movie. I didn't notice this.
Oh.
It was called Sometimes They Come Back, and I looked it up, and I
Oh,
finally.
dude.
Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I've. Oh, that scarred me too.
I
You just
haven't.
brought back memories I forgot about. Holy shit.
Wait. Would it be scary even as an adult?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I don't. I think it's probably so badly made that like by not badly made, but like by comparison of what we're used to in levels of realism. But I remember just being like 6 years old and walking in on that scene. I'm like, what are you watching? and and it just stuck with me that specific memory because it's like for years as a kid. And I looked it up recently and I was like, oh, that's what that movie was. And I watched it. No, it wasn't that bad at all. And I was like,
Oh.
okay, this is nothing now. But yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder if you guys have any other experiences where you're like, that just stuck with me
Yeah.
when I
Well,
was younger.
for me, I mean, it's gonna be Obey the Walrus, but we already talked about that. So what about you, Nexpo?
So movies wise, this is gonna sound so basic, but honestly, the VHS tape from The Ring, that just I watched that when I was like so young, and it just I
Oh,
was traumatized, bro. Just everything about that movie, and I just sent you guys the
screenshot.
the photo of the distorted faces. Yeah, from The
Yeah.
Ring, dude. The distorted photographs even freak me
Oh
out to this
wow.
day.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
that does look
why.
kind of creepy. It reminds me
You
of
know,
like when like AI tries to draw faces.
yeah. There's not enough sample data.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ones like that. I remember there was this one like Let's Play YouTuber that used to screamer people like just randomly. I've talked about that one, I think, with you, Eric. And then the other one
Yeah.
too is like there was one Cheetos commercial that scared me when I was like 5 or something like that. And it was like the Cheetos commercial where like the chef like steals um the recipe and they have him like silhouetted out with his voice like glitchy or something. It was like part of a series. I looked it up. It was like not scary at all I grew up, but I was just like, when you're a kid, it's just certain little things will just like trip you up. But anyways,
Yeah, so, well,
what's
especially because the world's so new. Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, I've actually never seen The Ring before. I yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah,
Dude, you gotta watch
I
it.
really should. I really should. All right, so the next question we had was from Benji or CZN Crete. He says, "Were there any hurdles you faced when it came to being content creators?"
um, I guess I'll go first for this one. Just I would say just like trying to figure out. I'd still trying to just be consistent. I think that's probably the hardest part for first starting. Um, I would say like it depends on what you're like exposed to. If you're doing like media stuff for a while, like the video editing stuff kind of came natural. You just Googled everything. But the main hurdle I think now is just being consistent and figuring out like how to adapt and just stay up to date with everything. I would say that's probably my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, for me the hurdle was I guess keeping that spark, keeping that love for doing what I do. And I guess part of that is, shifting the focus to doing what I like making videos that I like versus videos that I think may perform well in the algorithm. Because burnout's a very big thing. It's a very real thing. And, I never thought that it would, you know, get to me ever in my career, but it did. And that's probably the biggest hurdle anyone can face as a creator is, you make so much stuff for so many years and it just hits you out of nowhere where it's like your brain just does not want to finish a project, or you overthink things and get in your own head, or you can't find a topic and it's just always something. But it's a very stressful process on the back end, and it's something that I do still fight today. So yeah, that's my answer.
Just to add to that, is I think there's almost like a mental barrier, I think, where you're like, if you're just genuinely making stuff that you're having fun doing, then it's amazing. It's like the best job ever, right? But then it's like
Right.
when you start to focus on numbers and stuff like that, when you focus on like money and you focus on like, making a living, and all of a sudden when you focus on success, it almost like paradoxically, I've noticed, fun is like what leads to success as a byproduct, for me at least. I've noticed that. And so you just kind of have to keep at that. I think so many people go into it and they're like, I just want to be successful. Then you need to reevaluate where you're at. Just have fun first. I think that's the biggest thing because it shines through in anything you make. But yeah.
Yeah, well, and I also think that, I mean, if you're only in it like for money or fame or something like that, like you're not gonna stick with it when it gets hard. You know what I mean? Like the only way you're in this for the long run is if you like genuinely actually like doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, very much agreed, man.
I think what's cool about this corner of YouTube in particular is there's there's little things that have popped up here and there, I'll admit, but like it's very low key. There's people just want to make dope stuff, and I don't think many people in our genre make it about themselves as much as they do about just like trying to make good things for people to enjoy, which I think is a good set of incentives, because it's like the pursuit of fame in and of itself, or the pursuit of success in and of itself, is just, I think, vanity. I think it has to come first, that it's like you're having fun because that reflects well. But not to take away from your time with this topic or question, Eric.
yeah. No, I mean, that's all I really have to say. I don't have much to say on this. So, yeah, you guys said it perfectly. Yeah, the next. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was a quick thing. I was gonna say, on the topic of like having fun. So my last upload was Halloween, and today I uploaded for the first time since then. I was working on a Disturbing Things episode the entire time up until about 3 weeks ago, and I was in the production phase. Like I was 10 minutes into production, or actually 15 minutes into production, and I said, "Fuck this! I'm not having fun. I'm working at a snail's pace. This video's half baked. It's not working out for me. Like I gotta throw this in the trash." So I literally took the whole video and just threw it away. And I was like, "Fuck this." My lead story on Disturbing Things was the deep sea, so I'm just gonna make a whole video on the deep sea because that's like what I'm already into, And I was having fun doing it, and I got that shit done in like 2 weeks, man.
Oh wow.
And like fun is so much, like it's such a big aspect of this, and I'm like still learning that.
Yeah, and I think novelty it ties into it. If you made a bunch of episodes of Disturbing Things, and it's good to have like something just as like a set of like filler while you work on, or maybe kind of dwell on some other ideas you have on the back burner.
Yeah.
But it's like if you want to do something fun, it's impossible to get anything else done. And yeah, I know this is like it's childish in some regard because I think it is, because it's like for YouTube, it's like, oh well, you need to do the responsible thing, but it's like in reality, what leads to the best results is kind of being focusing on trying to find something that inspires you to do a good job. But cookie or peanut butter? Cookie butter, cookie butter, or
peanut butter.
cookies.
Yeah. So, what is cookie butter? What is that?
I was about to ask the same thing.
I looked it up.
I've never had
I
cookie
looked
butter
it up
either.
before, literally like before the podcast today. I Google searched cookie butter and I started reading about it, and I'm like, it was too much to read. I'm like, okay, whatever. One of them will explain it to me when we start, and I guess none of us know what that is. So I guess by default it has to be peanut butter then, right?
Dude,
Yeah.
peanut butter coming out here with a dub.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
easy.
Until we try cookie butter, I guess. All right, next question from Creative Temporary. He says, has there ever been a topic that you get countless requests to discuss that you don't want to do? I guess this is kind of similar to what I said at the beginning. But do you have anything else to add to that?
This? Oh, sorry. You
eh,
can go ahead.
I not too much because I think we've kind of touched on a lot of this already.
Yeah.
Just by proxy. But I would say countless requests. Obviously, people want me to follow up my series for the music industry, and it's just like I'm pushing it. The last video already got a warning on it. I shouldn't. I don't know. I will get around to it eventually, but like I don't know. It's not a fun topic right now. I'll say that, especially with some of the other stuff I've gotten back on it. It's like it's so much work. It took so many months, and it definitely changed a lot of like worldview stuff. Like for me, as I read up on it, you realize, how the world really works because that ties into like power and everything like that, and it makes you sound a
Oh,
little crazy.
damn. Yeah.
It makes you sound a little crazy as you start to like dive into some of the, you know, aspects of like organized crime and societies and you know the government is essentially just a monopoly on violence and once you realize anyways yeah I will get back to that eventually but for now yeah next question.
Okay. Next question was from Matt. He says, does researching the content topics you creators make affect your mental health?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
I would say I feel like oftentimes it isn't really the like content of the topics that I research that affects me mentally. At least not anymore. Maybe at one point it did. I feel like it's more just like having everyone look at what you do is what affects me at this point now. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny, it's like all of like you guys know, it's like all the people in our niche, they're like the most wholesome people.
Yeah, they are.
They're like the happiest. Like, yeah, you heard about that case? That one was interesting. It's like, I don't know. I think there's definitely, like, I'll tell you, I looked up something when I was researching a video, because I was researching like the decomposition of bodies for like the ocean, one of the ocean topics, and like adipocere came up, which is like grave wax. And I was reading through like the forensic journals, and then like some of the images popped up, and I'm like, normally I've seen some stuff on like Live Leak, and I've been shocked sighted, but it just catches you off guard, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go take a walk outside and then come back and revisit this. But I think it mostly just has to do with like a large part of it has to do with being kind of like this this like type of job. I think in essence is you have to get outside and do things and talk and kind of interact with the world because it's easy to be like reclusive. Because if you're just online working on your videos all day and like taking work super seriously, you kind of shut out the outside world. I don't know about you guys, but like just getting that like healthy balance with like exercise and other things like that has helped a ton. But yeah, researching things day in and day out, not leaving the house and just like literally immersing yourself in a world where people talk about disturbing deaths and murders 24/7. It's like sometimes I just want to cover something funny, and sometimes I've done that. Like a couple topics are just silly, and I think that you know balance is key for any person for your mental health, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why I've been getting so much into like gaming topics lately, like horror conceptual gaming stuff, because it's a nice breath of fresh air from like all the death and it's like just dark shit that we dig into on a daily basis.
Even just a mystery that's like treasure or something is such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I love the non-murder mysteries subreddit. That one was my favorite because it was like when something popped up on there, it was weird. It was like genuinely weird. Not all of the cases are but 99% of unresolved mysteries is just like someone died who did it.
Yeah.
Bro, you know what my favorite one is on that subreddit? Actually, I don't even think it's on that subreddit. Fuck, where did I find it? Basically, Gandalf.com. Have y'all heard of that?
I have
no.
Gandalf.com?
It's just like a bizarre website, right?
Yeah, it's just a little bizarre website. It's a relic of like the 90s that hasn't been updated since the 90s, and it's got Gandalf on it. It's creepy. And that's it. There's no murder or anything. It's just a nice little creepy thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or bleb.net. I've stumbled across that one. It's weird. I wouldn't recommend you go to it. I'm just going to flat out say that.
Okay, I was literally just typing it.
Wait, bleb.com? I'm going to go to it now just because
No.
you said not to go to it.
Yeah,
It's
fuck
bleb.
you. Barely social. Yeah, censor that out. Sorry.
Bleb, wait, BLEB?
Bleb.net, I think
Oh, sorry,
it's called.
.net. Okay, because bleb.com is not a thing. Like bleb.net, I'm here.
I think it's just it's a weird one. It ties into some other like.
Sorry, I screamed just because nothing creepy happened. I just screamed because I'm on edge. Okay, sorry,
Holy
go
shit.
ahead.
Well,
It's
you know what?
Squidward suicide. Holy shit.
What's it called? Is that?
What
Where do you see that?
Dude, I just clicking on the site. I don't know.
It's just like a random rabbit hole. Yeah, there's that one that I think Jorge covered. One of those websites that like
CR6.
LOL HQ or whatever.
Oh yes, dude.
That has like a bunch of epileptic stuff on it. Like, yeah, I didn't really look into that one, but yeah, I don't know. What got each of you interested in creating YouTube? Oh, that's the last one. Too early?
Oh,
Too
wait,
soon?
where are we? Oh, yeah, no, yeah, we'll go to our next question. Sure, yeah, okay. Yeah, last question, Kadocha Girl. What got each of you interested in creating YouTube channels based on strange, unsettling topics? I guess I'll go first on this one. So okay, I'm gonna mention a creator here that I don't know if you guys actually know or not. Because he is, I haven't heard of him since. I don't know what's going on with him. But when I first started like actually making videos on ScareTheater, like I was doing videos on my gaming channel, and at one point like I really wanted to, do something greater than that. And this other creator that I knew at the time was also making gaming videos. His name was, I think, Phenomian, something like that. He made a YouTube channel called YouTube Explained. Do you know what that is? Did that ring a bell?
No, I've never heard of that.
No? Okay, YouTube Explained. He was, sometimes I like to credit myself with creating the genre, but maybe he did, actually, because he made, I think his very first video was on the gaming channel, and this is what inspired him to create YouTube Explained. He made the very first Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared Explained video. He started basically that entire thing, and then he started doing some videos about that, and like they weren't all based on creepy stuff. It was just all around stuff, and I just like loved the way he delved into topics and stuff, and it was really catching on. And I was like, that's something interesting. Like I loved how he had like one specific niche that he really dug into, and I'm like, well, I want a niche. I'm like, what am I gonna do next? And I'm like, well, I made ScareTheater a couple years ago, and I never posted anything on it. And I'm like, well, maybe I should try to like grow ScareTheater. And then I think my first video was explaining Obey the Walrus, and then it kind of grew from there. But I think YouTube Explained was actually one of my very first inspirations, and it sucks because I don't think he makes videos anymore, or if he does, they're definitely not like big anymore. So I don't know what he's up to these days. Yeah,
I think it definitely has evolved. It's funny because it's like, I know it was ScareTheater, then like Nexpo, I remember you popped up on the scene like right after that, right? Like it was like a couple years, or like in 2017?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. And then I remember watching in particular, it's funny, it's like I'm third wave, and then like Wendigoon's like fourth wave, right? Like
Yeah.
And then it's like every year there's like a new wave of people that pop up.
Wendigoon. What the heck is a Wendigoon?
You never heard of
No,
Wendigoon?
I'm kidding.
Wait, you ever heard of that? Wait a minute.
No, but when I first
Get this
heard
man in here.
when I first heard him, I was like, a Wendigo? You mean the creature? They're like, no, Wendigo. And I'm like, who's that? I'm like, oh, okay, that's a new one. That's a new one.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like I definitely watched your, I watched Nexpo's, what was his name? Yay Video Games. Like that I watched that video in particular when I was like dealing with some crap and watching that like back, I think 2017. I think I want to say 2018. One of the years when it first came out, and it was
Yeah.
like the follow up video to that one. And then basically that was like one of the videos that stuck in the back of my head for like that genre. So then when I actually started like trying YouTube out, just because I wanted to try it, right? Um, and like basically I was just doing a bunch of other like working for myself type things, and eventually I just started, hey, let's just try and make like infotainment topic, and this is in 2019, and then I tried other stuff, and then people didn't really gravitate towards that, and then when the first creepy video I did, everybody gravitated towards that. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess the shoe fits, and that was like I had that yay video games like style that you did for that the follow-up video in particular in my head when I was making that, or as like a reference. And obviously I think you take inspiration from whoever's done something that you've like watched and you're like, okay, before. But like I think that it was kind of like a shoe fits wear it kind of scenario for me. But
Right.
now it's like, hey, I get to pursue a bunch of other interesting stuff and tell the story for like documentaries and stuff like that, for just anything you find interesting, right? But I know the core audience likes the creepy, unsettling topics. But I think that's just human nature. People just like, interesting or things that maybe make them curious to get them to click on a thumbnail. And I would say I don't necessarily try to scare the viewer. I never meant to make that a point, but I guess I just get lumped in, which is weird. But what about you, Nexpo?
Yeah, so it's funny because we got different tiers. Like you mentioned waves. Like ScareTheater was the one that I watched that motivated me to start. It was him and I think Dark Five that used to do those like
Oh,
silent top five videos of like
I
creepy
like him.
things.
He still makes.
Dude,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, so like to this day, that format is still so creepy to me. Like having like that just background music and just going through a list of like just five creepy things online. Like, oh god. It sucks because like I think he had to change up his format because of YouTube's guidelines or something. He had to start like doing voiceover. But
Oh,
yeah, Dark Five, big. He got me super into like the creepy side of YouTube, and then I started watching Scare Theater. And dude, I watched so much Scare Theater, and then just one night, I was watching you, and I was like, you know what? I want to start talking about some of this stuff too. This is kind of cool. Like, why not? Let's just see. So I made a channel, and yeah, off we went.
Yeah.
it's so funny because some people they'll pop up and it's like we all watched each other, and that's why there's so much consistency and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, it's a tight knit community. I think before it was like Rainbot. She's still around. I think I haven't talked to her in a long
I
time.
want to get
Dude,
her on one of
same,
these
man.
one of these podcast episodes, so I think she'll join, right?
Yeah, I
We'll
think
see.
she's
Yeah,
cool.
I think
We're
you'd be
calling
down.
you out, Rainbot, if you watch
Yeah,
this with some
Rainbot.
sense.
Yeah, I think there's I don't know. It's cool to see that like every year there's like a new face for this stuff. I think obviously Wendigoon's like the big popular one now, but I think ultimately we all there's similar anchors for everybody that they consume, because some people even today like, oh, this video had like a similar presentation to this other person. Like, did they take inspiration from them? Yes. Yes, definitely. But yeah, Dark Five, that's a good one, dude. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of channels. He's got like 10, right? He's
What?
got Dark Docs. Yeah, he's got like a bunch of channels. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah. But he's a good one. I follow Dark Docs and Dark Five. But he's one of the few that it's a quick hit style video, and obviously YouTube wants longer form content, so it's lagged behind in terms of like forefront.
Yeah.
But that dude's in like OG for sure. Um, but yeah, man, it's been a fun little array of topics tonight.
yeah, I think it was
Oh yeah, it's
awesome.
been a good time, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate all of you guys coming on. I think this is really nice.